Welcome to VVork. This is the continuation of a series of videos where we are discussing containers, Docker, Kubernetes, and VMware PKS with Marc Alumbaugh. In this video, Marc will discuss building your own Kubernetes environment from scratch versus deploying VMware PKS. Let's get started.
So Brian, your question about should you just go ahead and start building your own Kubernetes cluster versus using something like PKS to do that. And this slide here is going to give us that comparison. So at the bottom here, you could see was your suggestion. Should you start to build your own? And to build your own, you still need physical infrastructure. So you're going to need to go in, you need to set up physical hosts or servers where we're going to get our CPU, RAM, our networking, and our disk from. I think, and a lot of other people probably would agree with me, is you should put some type of virtual infrastructure on the top, some type of hypervisor, so you get the ability to be able to do maintenance, you have the ability to do some type of high availability in case something should fail, you get the portability of being able to replicate your VMDK files to another location. Now, you're going to have to come up with some mechanism to handle storage persistence. Again, maybe 70, 80% of your containers are stateless, but as I said, ultimately, you're going to need a mechanism to persist the data that is being written by your database container. You're also going to need a mechanism to do some form of security and networking. How are you going to do that? There is open source solutions that will do that. Maybe firewalling just in front would work for you. How are you going to handle things like cluster health monitoring? How are you going to handle lifecycle management if there's a new update or a patch that needs to be applied? How are you going to handle just the general overall framework lifecycle management of all of your Kubernetes system? Ultimately, Kubernetes sits here at the very top. The blue boxes from framework down to storage persistency, everything that you've got from here all the way down through here is stuff you're going to have to handle and manage. The Kubernetes will fulfill the items inside this box. So your question is how am I going to handle everything in this area? What are you going to do for your image registry? How are you going to have something to say, is this container image something I want running in my network? Okay, probably not necessarily a good idea just to get something from a public image registry. You're going to want some type of enterprise capable image registry. And this is where Kubernetes being deployed and managed by our PKS solution comes into play. So if you look on the right-hand side, you're still going to need your physical infrastructure. Okay, that's still going to be there. You need your physical infrastructure to be able to get CPU, RAM, networking, and disk. Again, I think you should be doing this on a virtualization platform, and we're going to obviously suggest vSphere. And we're also going to add to it with PKS, NSX, and vSAN. And you're going to see why, because that's another degree of abstraction that we can handle between our physical networking and our virtual networking, our physical storage, and our virtual storage. We're going to show you with PKS how the solution called the cloud provider's going to plug in to PKS to allow me to be able to do storage policy-based management to give me persistent storage. Or I could map it through to any NFS, iSCSI, or fiber channel-based storage that's available for me in vSphere. From the security and networking point, we're going to explain to you how NSX fulfills that requirement. How for lifecycle management, we're going to be using BOSH in two different areas, the lifecycle of my cluster and my lifecycle management of my Kubernetes. Kubernetes, remember, has a version. So maybe you're running 1.11 and you want to go to 1.12 or 1.13. How BOSH would automate some of that for you. You're still going to have Kubernetes sitting here, either if you spin it and make it yourself, or you have PKS do it for you. You're still running a validated version of Kubernetes that is the same version. If you're running 1.11 here, you could be running 1.11 here. It's the same version, so there's not any special sauce being added to Kubernetes. And then at the very top, you'll see how Harbor will plug in to be your image registry. So this is what part is going to cover. We're going to show you either the concept of where it would be building your own versus how PKS is going to be more enterprise ready for you to deploy your container deployment and manage it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mark. So we've tackled quite a bit today. Again, just flashing back to that very first slide you showed, there's a lot of technologies involved in the world of containers. So there's Docker, there's Kubernetes, and so forth. And a big part of what we VMware are striving to do is to help you find the bits and pieces that you need. So again, in part of this video, we will be talking specifically about VMware PKS. And we'd encourage you, in order to catch that video when it drops, make certain that you subscribe and hit that little notification bell thingy so that you'll know the moment we drop this video. So again, I'd like to thank Mark for his time today and look forward to talking with you again here in the near future in part our video on VMware PKS. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
In the next video, Mark will discuss the relationship between VMware PKS and Kubernetes. Join us in the next video to learn more.